welcome everyone to the COVID-19 Minute Clinic. I'm here today to help to delete any negative emotions or thoughts that you may be having, you, your family, or friends may be having around COVID-19. So welcome. If you just joined us here today, you can, in our comment section here, you could just give us your name and where you're from. And here, this is Friday. This is the last in my series here of COVID-19 free minute clinics here for the month of May. We will be continuing our minute clinics here in June. Starting on June 1st, our minute clinics will be for people that are dealing with chronic pain. So if you're one of those people that are suffering maybe from chronic hip, back, neck, shoulder, unexplained pain. Maybe you've tried everything from lotions, potions, all kinds of different therapies. Maybe you even spent a lot of money and then you still only get temporary relief, or maybe not even any relief at all. So I'm here to tell you that the emotion code can help with chronic pain. So stay tuned here, starting on June the 1st, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 9 a.m. from Visions Healing, the Chronic Pain Minute Clinic. But here today we're going to focus on COVID-19. Any negative thoughts or feelings that you may have of COVID-19. Maybe you're feeling some anxiety around COVID-19. Maybe some fear. Maybe some depression. Maybe some frustration. Maybe some resentment. Whatever you're feeling around COVID-19. If it's feelings like depression and anger and frustration, these are all what we call negative emotions or negative thoughts. And those are things that you do not want to hold on to for very long because they're going to impact you in different ways. For example, these negative thoughts and emotions, first of all, they can lower your vibration. Anger, for example, vibrates at a lower frequency than joy. Peace is a lower frequency than being agitated. So all of these thoughts or emotions have a vibrational component or a vibe to them. So when we're happy and healthy and enjoying life, our vibrational levels almost go through the roof. And that's where we sometimes feel that sense of self-satisfaction, that sense of joy maybe, happiness, being happy, all those things, all those types of thoughts or emotions, they vibrate at much higher frequencies. But when we're feeling some anger or some frustration or depression, what does that do? It affects our whole physical system. It affects us physically, mentally, and emotionally, and sometimes even spiritually. So when you're vibrating at the lowest frequencies and you're attracting those negative emotions and you're holding on to those negative emotions, they can actually make you very sick. They can certainly lower your immune system and make you much more susceptible to any type of virus or bacteria or anything that's going around. So it's very important to identify and release these negative emotions. And I'm here to tell you that we can do this within minutes for you. And we can do this energetically at a distance. So welcome if you just joined us. If you'd like to put in the comment section here your name and where you're from. I'm looking for 2 volunteers here today that I can do a free minute clinic with to help you to release or delete or lower or lessen any negative or thoughts or feelings that you may have around COVID-19. So this all comes from a program that was developed by Dr. Bradley Nelson. He's a holistic chiropractor from the States. He wrote a book and released it in 2007. I know it's backwards here, but this is called The Emotion Code by Dr. Bradley Nelson. Forward here by Tony Robbins. How to release your trapped emotions for abundant health, love, and happiness. So what happened was he was working with some patients for a number of years that were coming in with chronic issues, and he was trying to figure out how we could best help them. So what he started to realize was, and through his study also of Eastern medicine, that emotions can impact our health. You know, if you're feeling a lot of anger, that can settle into your lower back or into a shoulder or some area, or if you're feeling some defensiveness or discouragement, some of these things can end up affecting our lungs. So he started to incorporate this in with his chiropractic practice, looking for the emotional component in some of these unexplained chronic pains. So that's when he developed the program, and today we're using the emotion code to help with any negative thoughts or emotions to do with COVID-19. So if you just joined us here today, I'm here in the sunny Okanagan, Kelowna, British Columbia. We're about 300 miles inland from the west coast. It's a large area of fruit growing and wine industry, and it's also known as Canada's California. So again, if you just joined us, let us know where you're from. Say hello. So I am a certified body code and emotion code practitioner, former instructor as well, and a wellness consultant of many years in the area of energy medicine. And what we're talking about here is energy. Everything is energy. Again, if you're feeling some negative thoughts around COVID-19, maybe you or a family member, those negative thoughts are actually having a negative impact on your energy field. They're lowering your immune system. They're maybe leading to chronic pain. Maybe you're dealing with digestive problems, maybe breathing issues. Maybe you're dealing with some relationship issues, or maybe you have issues related to work, or maybe not being able to work like you would normally, or perhaps you're just angry that you can't go out and socialize like you normally would. All of these things are valid feelings, and we all have these different feelings and emotions about things in our life. They're all valid, however, holding on to them is not a good thing. You know, there's an old expression that says that your negative emotions can make you sick. Well, if you actually do some research, the Center for Disease Control states that at least 80% of all diseases have an emotional component. 80%. So who's dealing with that part of our health care? That's where we come in. Emotion code, body code practitioners, that's what we're trained to do, to deal with those unexplained issues that may be caused from what we call emotional baggage. And what's emotional baggage? Well, emotional baggage is every time we've had, if you can think about this in your life, for most of your life, we've all had times in our life that we recall where we were feeling really good and really happy. Maybe we were at a wedding, maybe we're visiting with some friends where we feel really good. Maybe we're just enjoying life and enjoying our activities. And those things help to keep us healthy. Because in order to be healthy, we need to be physically healthy, yes, but we also need to be emotionally healthy. We need to be mentally healthy as well. Those are all parts of being healthy. In order to be healthy, it's never just one thing. So if you're dealing with some emotional baggage, maybe something that happened again many years ago when you're younger, and there's some anger, frustration you're still holding on to when you were 4 years old and you're 44 and you're still holding on to it. Well, that could show up as chronic pain. It could show up as a health issue. It could show up as a relationship, business, success issue. These emotions hugely impact our life because we're emotional beings. And we run our lives a lot through our emotions. And because we do that, what happens is anything that has a negative effect on us can cause us to hold on to some of these emotions, and then again they can make us sick. So I use what's called when I'm working with the emotion code, I use what I call this may be backwards here, but here, let's see. I use what's called a 7-key process. The 7-key process is when we use, I use 7 different elements to identify or release any emotions that you may be carrying or negative thoughts. And so in the part of the 7 key process, first thing coming up is what we call our emotion code chart. And you can maybe see this here. There's one here in behind me here. That's a copy of Dr. Nelson's emotion code chart. He developed this, these 60 emotions on the chart through years of practice. He ended up with these 60 emotions. And they're all on this particular list here, or in some cases I actually have them on this little card here. This is a fridge magnet with all the different emotions on here. 60 of the most common emotions we tend to hold on to. And when we're holding on to those emotions, guess what? They're going to impact us at some point. And the thing is too, is with these emotions, is that because they vibrate at different frequencies, it's all about our vibe, right? Again, when we're feeling good and healthy and things are rolling nicely, we're vibing up here. We're raising our vibration. But if we have any of these negative emotions going on here, guess what? It's going to lower our vibrations, lower our immune system. Again, maybe lead to chronic pain, maybe lead to different things. And yes, hi, Rob, nice to see you. Yes, the chart is backwards here, but once it plays on the Facebook, once you're recording, it'll come out. It should come out. Should come out the proper way. That's why I have these cards here to show you. So yes, the emotion code chart. That's the first part. The second part of dealing with our negative emotions or thoughts is what we call muscle testing. Okay, muscle testing has been around since the early 70s. I started doing muscle testing in the early 70s. I learned from a master herbalist, and he was also a reflexologist, herbalist. He was way ahead of his time when it came to natural health. And he taught me basic muscle testing, how to test for nutritional deficiencies. So that's something I learned back in the early 70s. I started doing that back then. So I could test to see if I needed vitamin C or vitamin D. And if I did, and there was 3 different brands, I could muscle test to see which brand was best, how much I should take. And that has served me well for many, many years. I've worked with many of my clients over the years. We've taken they've come with their nutritional supplements and all the stuff they take, sometimes 10 or 15 things. We've been able to test each one. Is this good for you or not good for you? How much? Sometimes we've been able to eliminate several of those supplements that weren't serving them in any way. Maybe change to a different brand, or maybe they weren't taking enough, or maybe their body just wasn't absorbing it. So muscle testing is a way to access the subconscious mind through the body. It's also known as bioenergetics. It's also known as applied kinesiology. And Oxford just released a study not too long ago where they were doing a study on what they call muscle response testing, same thing. And what they discovered was muscle testing is as accurate, if not more accurate, than most of our standard medical tests today. Why? Because we're actually talking directly to the mind. And what runs the body? What runs your life? It's your mind that runs it. The mind runs the body, so if there's a problem going on in the body, we need to, if we can access the mind and find out why or what's going on, then that's what we do. And again, we do that through muscle testing. So if you just joined us here today, we're doing our COVID-19 Minute Clinic. Any negative thoughts or emotions or feelings you have maybe around COVID-19, how they're maybe impacting you or maybe a family member. Maybe there's some anger, frustration around it. Maybe there's some depression. Maybe there's some worry or nervousness around what's going to happen here. We're all going through this here, and the thing is, I can help you. If you have some of this stuff going on, I can help you identify it and delete it for you within minutes using the emotion code. So a big part of the emotion code is is what we call proxy. So proxy is basically, in energy healing, it's known as having someone stand in for you. So sometimes, some of you may have heard of surrogates before. Surrogate testing is something similar. So with proxy testing, I'm able to move my subconscious out of the way and connect to your subconscious. And then when I'm doing the muscle testing here, I'm getting answers from your subconscious. Let's talk a little bit about the subconscious mind. Some things, I've been studying the mind since the 70s as well, working with the body. Well, actually started in the late 60s on holistic health, but working with the mind, started to study things in the 70s about the mind and kind of how it works. And you know what? There's not a lot we know about the mind. However, we do know there's what we have. It appears we have what we call our conscious mind and our subconscious mind. And here's the difference between the two. Our conscious mind makes conscious decisions and controls a lot of, our conscious choices throughout the day. For example, if you're going to go to the store to buy some groceries, you get in your car, you start it up, you go out of the driveway, you turn left, you go down the block, you turn right, you go a few blocks, you turn left, and you get into the parking lot. Now you're at the store. And you're going to do your grocery shopping. That's the conscious mind. You're making these conscious decisions along the way, consciously making them. And then there's what we call the subconscious mind. And that's the part of the mind that we work with. It's known as your supermind. Why? Because it knows everything about you. Everything that you've ever tasted, touched, felt, experienced, whether positive or negative, it's all recorded in that subconscious mind. I think it's about 90 to 95% of our mind is our subconscious mind. And it's our subconscious mind that controls how we think, how we behave, how we respond, our overall health and well-being, our success. A lot of that is controlled by our subconscious mind. So that's when you get in the car, you say, I'm going to go to the store. You get in the car to go grocery shopping. You drive to the store. You get to the store. You're sitting in your car there in the parking lot, and you just think to yourself, geez, how did I get here? I wasn't even thinking about, my mind was in some other place. I wasn't even thinking about driving, but I did get here. That's your subconscious mind. That's where all your patterns are, your patterns of behavior and thoughts, how you respond. Can we change it? Absolutely, we can change it. We can consciously work on changing our subconscious mind. And so we have, Bob Proctor gave me a diagram many, many years ago that he had got from someone else. And it was a circle. He drew a circle, and in that circle, the top half he called the conscious mind, the bottom half he called the subconscious mind. And then there was another line drawn down from there with a little circle with a little P there. So there was conscious mind, subconscious mind, and P. P stood for physical reality or physical manifestation. So in other words, he said, if you want to change your physical reality, you have to consciously change your subconscious mind, which will in turn change your physical reality. So it got me thinking, because the conscious mind is more or less our thinking mind, but our subconscious is our emotional mind. So now when you Google emotions in health or whatever, you're going to find a lot of stuff out there. As a matter of fact, some of you may have heard of this book before. This is just one of many books written about the mind and the subconscious mind, but also around muscle testing. This is Power versus Force. Dr. David Hawkins, talking about working with the subconscious mind and working with how to use muscle testing to check your conscious awareness. It's a fascinating book. It's worth a read. And then there's another one here. This is an interesting book. This is called The Divided Mind by Dr. John Schlapbach. The Divided Mind. It's the epidemic of mind-body disorders. And he talks about how emotions impact our well-being and our health. And he was a rehab specialist for almost 50 years, and he knew the impact of emotions on our overall well-being. As a matter of fact, he also mentions that pretty well all diseases or imbalances, pretty well, they're all either emotionally based initially, or they're emotional and environmental. So a combination of emotions, environmental. So how important are emotions? They're so important for us to identify and release. So again, once we do the emotion code chart, the 7th step, we use muscle testing, we use proxy where I can stand in for you. And you know, how does it really work? I don't know if anybody really knows. But you know, I've worked with people in Hong Kong, in Brazil, in Germany, in Portugal, in Canada, in US, all over the world. I've worked with people to help them get to the source of their issue, whether it's a chronic health issue, whether it's success in their business, whether it's relationship stuff, whatever. There's always some kind of emotions or negative thoughts there that are affecting us. So once we use the muscle testing and we use our emotion code chart here and we identify the emotion, then we need to know what is the severity of that thought or negative feeling you have to do with COVID-19 on a scale of 1 to 10. 10 is very severe, 1 is not so severe. And actually, the more severe or intense that emotion you're feeling or that's in your energy field, the more dramatic it's going to affect you, right? And then what we need from you is we need what we call permission, right? In order to work on you, I need your permission. Without your permission, I can't do the work. And whether it's, even if it's your child that we're working on, once they turn 18, and I worked on a lot of kids over the years, they are now an adult and we need their permission. I have worked with children, older children that are adults. Now I have worked with them through their parents sometimes, but we've had their permission as well. So then the next step is what we call a magnet. And what's a magnet? Well, you can actually use your hand. Guess what? Because it's magnetic. Our body runs on magnetic and light energy. All of our thoughts are magnetic. I met a fellow through my other business, another business associate, many years ago, Dr. Zamowski, and he was a specialist. He was one of the world-renowned specialists in MRIs. And he was involved with a magnetic company the same as me, and I learned a lot from him. But one thing he said, that in the future we're looking to develop these machines that will read your thoughts. And how do they do it? They do that through magnetic energies. How it all works, I don't know. So magnets are a pure form of energy. We live on the earth, it's a magnet. We can't function without it. Even when we go to space, guess what? There's magnets in the spacesuits. There's Schumann resonators in the space capsules to keep some kind of magnetic energy there. And so it's very important. So we use a magnet to release these emotions, and because it's a pure form of energy, I use the Nikan ones here because they're balanced with the Earth's magnetic field, and you can use them for other things. You have some tension or stress, just erase it. And so I run that magnet over the central governing meridian, and I run it for deleting most emotions. We're going to run it at least 3 times here to delete that emotion or thought or negative feeling. And the other thing that's very, very important here is that I am well hydrated to do the work, and that you, when I'm working on you, that you're drinking water, or after our session, you're drinking water. And I'm just going to have a little sip here now. So if you just joined us today, we're doing our COVID-19 minute clinic here. We're helping people to identify and release within minutes any negative thoughts or emotions that you may have around COVID-19, whether it's some anger, maybe some frustration, some depression, maybe some confusion, some indecisiveness, maybe you're feeling overwhelmed. Whatever those emotions are, guess what? We can identify them through muscle testing. It's one of these 60, sometimes it's 2 or 3 or 4 off of there. So if you'd like us to do some work with you, we're going to do 2 things today. Number 1, if you'd like us to do some work, all we need is your permission, the thought or feeling that you may be experiencing, and the severity on a scale of 1 to 10. Is it a 5? Is it a 6 out of 10? So the thought or negative feeling, your permission, the severity, and then I can do some work with you. And the other thing that I'm offering today is I work with a master program, which is the body code. That's the overall program. There's 6 different categories that program is designed in. One of the categories are the energetic category, and that's where emotions lie under that category. So I work with the body code program as well, the master program. The emotion code is the major program. That's where you start. I started back in 2007 doing the emotion code. I became an instructor for Dr. Brad, teaching emotion code seminars in Canada. And I went on, and once he released the body code, the master program, of course, I got certified in that. So the body code, we can look at different parts of your life, nutritional deficiencies. We can look at energetic imbalances, misalignments, whether you have different pathogens in your system, whether you have toxins, whether you have any circuit or system imbalances. That's all within the body code. So one of the things we can do with the body code, guess what? We can check your immune system for functioning. Yeah, it's easy. Once we have your permission, we can check how well is your immune system functioning. Is it functioning over 50%, over 60%, over 80%? And if it's not functioning where you want it to be, we can ask your subconscious mind, okay, if it's only running at 75%, why is your immune system only running at 75%? Most of the time, it's emotional, negative emotions. Remember, they can suppress your immune system. We can delete those and quite often boost your immune system right there within minutes. Occasionally, sometimes we'll do that, but if someone says, you know, this person needs some extra vitamin C or extra vitamin D as well for support for the immune system, guess what? The program is going to tell us if that's what you need. So if you just joined us today, if you'd like us to do some work, I need 4 things from you. Number 1 is I need the thought or the feeling that you may have to do with COVID-19. Whether it's anger, frustration, depression, worry, anxiety, whatever it is, we need your permission to do the work. And how severe is this impacting you? And then once we have that, we can do your work, do the work for you. Or if you like, we can just do a quick check of your immune system. I'm just going to share a couple, lots of notes here on the people that I worked with over the last few weeks here. Is I'm going to share one. This is from a lady who asked me to do some work on her. She said she was having some issues to do with COVID-19, and what she was saying was that her biggest issue was she was feeling upset that she just couldn't get on a plane and go visit her family. Anyone experience that during the COVID-19? You're stuck, you can't go and see your friends or your family. So she couldn't, so that made her very sad that she couldn't do that. And so she asked me, she said, you know, this is how I'm feeling, and this is how COVID-19 is affecting me. Can you do something to help me out? And I said, absolutely. So what we found was through muscle testing, and I found 2 emotions there. One was sadness. She was feeling some sadness around this whole issue. The other one was feeling overwhelmed as well to do with this whole issue. And then she also had 3 emotions that were all kind of lumped together. So whenever we trapped emotion, that emotion is in its own sphere of energy. And it's usually about the size of an orange or a grapefruit. That's how much energy it takes up. So imagine if you've got a problem with your neck and there's 5 or 6 emotions caught up in your shoulder or neck area, and they're pushing up against there. Guess what? Each time we delete one of those emotions, that pressure starts to go down and down and down. So she was feeling this sadness around this. So we released the sadness for her, and we released the overwhelm. She felt a lot lighter, a lot easier. But then we found these other emotions that were bunched together. These are what we call psychic trauma emotions. And these were discovered by Dr. Nelson after 9/11, is when we feel more than one emotion simultaneously, sometimes it'll get caught up in that same sphere. So she also had sadness, overwhelm, and shock all caught up in that sphere of energy. So I was able to identify that and release that in minutes here using the magnet and intention. And she felt so much nicer and lighter afterwards, much easier. She said she didn't feel that all of a sudden that stress that was there as soon as she started to think about that, not being able to see her friends. But we did a little bonus for her. We did a check of her immune system as well before we did the work, and it was running around 84%. And most of us would be happy to be running at 84%. But after we released those few emotions, we rechecked her immune system. Boom, boom, it was running at 98%. So what would you prefer, immune system running at 98%, especially now around COVID-19, or do you want running at 70, 80%? So it's easy to identify and release and bring that system. So if you'd like us to even just to work on your immune system or check it, just put a little comment down below, give us your name and give us your permission, and we'll do that for you. There was another woman I worked on. Her name was Vonnie, and she was in the habit of watching the news quite a bit, especially during the COVID-19. And she would watch the news, and she would get very upset. And so what she was telling me, according to her notes here, that she'd watch the news, and she'd get an upset tummy by watching the news. And it's interesting because all these different emotions are tied into different organs and glands as well. So usually worry, anxiety, nervousness, that's going to impact your stomach. You know, your stomach or your spleen can be impacted by those because they generate those emotions. So when we're feeling anger, guess what? It's being generated by the liver and generated by the gallbladder. And do we want an angry liver or angry gallbladder? Absolutely not. So she would get an upset tummy after watching the news, and then she would develop, she was feeling the extra stress on that, she would get a rash in her feet and hands. Again, emotions impact our physical, they show up as physical things most of the time. So we found, let's see, there was 5 emotions we found there for her. It didn't take us long to find them, just a minute. And one was anxiety, one was despair, one was nervousness, one was worry, and one was grief. And it's interesting, grief is one of those emotions like defensiveness and rejection, grief, sadness, and sorrow. They can end up being generated by your lungs or colon and cause problems there. So we released those emotions for her, and her severity was a 9 out of 10 for this issue. It went down to about a 1. So basically, if I'm dealing with someone with chronic pain or breathing challenges, or maybe they have a food or a drink addiction something they'd like to eliminate, what we want to do is get these, when we're doing the work, we want to get it down to a severity of around 0. So she was only down to a 1, so she was down to a 1, so then I asked the subconscious mind again, is there a reason why we only got from a 9 down to a 1 instead of a 0? And we got a yes. And what she also is dealing with is what we call a trauma energy. And trauma energies are not exactly trapped emotions, but they are things that impact us in our life. And this is where I work off it's called the trauma energy chart. See all these different trauma energies on there. And things from having a trauma energy of parental approval, always trying to have parental approval, feeling betrayed or confused. Dislike of self is another one. Feeling intimidated, abandoned. Things like feeling embarrassment or feeling powerless. These are all trauma energies. So we identified, again, through muscle testing, which trauma energy, and there was a trauma energy of apprehension as well, associated with when she watched the news, she would get an upset tummy, and if she spent too much time doing that, she would have a rash in her hands and feet. So we released that apprehension there for her. And the severity went from a 9 down to a 0, big fat 0. And that's exactly what we want to do. We want to get it down to a 0. She felt much, much better after that. And here's another one who is someone who is feeling quite depressed to do with COVID-19. And it was having a real negative impact on her. So she was feeling very depressed, and it was about 10 out of 10 for severity, right? 10 out of 10. So is it impacting her physically as well? Absolutely. So she had a few emotions there. She had things like, we found resentment, we found depression, we found feeling unsupported on some level. That's a very common emotion that women tend to attract, especially. I work on a lot of women as well, and lots of other healers I have for many years, but apprehension was one as well, and unsupported. We released all of those. She went from a 10 down to a 0. Her immune system was running at around 65% when we started. When we were finished releasing those few emotions, and it only took a minute or two, her immune system was running at 95%. So if you don't think emotions are impacting your well-being, and these negative emotions or these unprocessed or trapped emotions, then, there's something to learn. Why? Because every day in our lives, we're going to trap at least one emotion. And so we can trap the same emotion more than once. We could trap anger many, many times in our life. 3 years old when we were angry at our brother, and 7 years old we're angry at our school teacher or something. And 25 years old we're angry at our mechanic because he told us it would only be $200, but it was 300. So when we feel these emotions, we either process the emotion and let it go and release it, or we hold on to it. And if we hold on to it, it's going to make us sick. So what do we want to do? When we feel our emotions, we want to process them. So I don't know what your background is, but I have some friends that are, I have some Italian friends, I have some Greek friends, and I have some Lebanese friends, and for some of you, I have some friends that are Spanish or from Mexico and other places. And guess what? A lot of these cultures express their emotions. They release them. They express their emotions. And when they do that, it actually helps them to release it. But what do we do in North America? We tend to hang on to our emotions. And what does that do? It'll make us sick. We're some of the sickest people in the world here in North America. So when we're looking at our health, we need to look at emotions. So I got someone here, Rob. Hello, Rob. Nice to see you here. Yeah, can we check your immune system? Absolutely, Rob. We can do that for you. So I'm going to show you how this works. So we're going to make a couple notes here for you, Rob. And so we want to be able to check his immune system for functioning. So we're going to show you how that works here. So again, we're using the 7-step process. If necessary, I will take into the 8-step and I will go into the body code program as well. But, so I'm going to do the muscle testing. So before I test your immune system here, Rob, I first of all need to know if I'm testable, right? So I'm going to say my name is John and I'm getting a bit of resistance. That's what we want. This is a yes, this is a no. There's many types of muscle testing, but Dr. Nelson and I, this is the one I prefer. It's called the ring and ring. 2 rings together. Show me a yes, show me a no. Show me a yes, show me a no. So a no response is usually weaker. If we're doing the arm test, a yes is fairly strong. A no, it would be a little weaker. So show me a yes, show me a no. I'm John. Am I Bob? No. Am I hydrated enough here to work on you, Rob? Yes, I am. So now I have your permission, Rob. I'm going to access your subconscious. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to move mine to the side and connect with yours. So can I act as a proxy then for Rob C? Yes, I can. Do I have a good connection with Rob? Yes, I do. Am I Rob? Yes. Am I John? No. It's that simple. Energetically, we're connected now. So now that I'm Rob, I'm going to ask, can we check to see, Rob, to see how well your immune system is functioning? Yes, we can. Okay, so is it functioning over 10%, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90? It's running around 81% here, Rob. This is what your subconscious is telling us. Remember, it knows everything about you. We just have to ask the questions. We're going to get yes or no answers. So it's running around 81% right now. And you know what? Most people would be happy with that. And, you know, that's a pretty strong immune system. But, you know, it could probably even do better. So let me ask, is there a reason for you, Rob, why your immune system is only running at 81%? And I'm getting a yes on that. So I'm going to ask, is it emotional? And I'm getting a yes on that. So how many emotions are we talking about here for you, Rob, that are impacting your immune system? There's two of them. There's two of them. So that's why we take our emotion code chart here, and you can see it in behind me. We're going to ask, is this particular emotion, is it in column A or B? Which row? So we've got 2 columns, 6 rows, and in each little section there's 5 different emotions in there. So there's 2 emotions. So are any of them in column A here? Yes. Are they both in column A? No. So one of them is in column A here for you, Rob. And is it in row 1, 2, 3, row 4? That's the liver gallbladder row. So let me ask, is your liver happy? No. Again, this is one way through the body code we can check all your organs and glands, your nervous system, make sure they're doing well. So this is in the liver gallbladder row. So is it anger? No. Is it bitterness? Is it guilt? Is it hate? There's some resentment there, Rob. I don't know if you can relate to that. And this resentment is actually affecting your immune system. So let me ask, do we need to know more in order to release it? No. But, you know, I'm going to ask you, there's 2, so let's gather them together here. Any others in column A? No. Column B, which row? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's your kidney bladder row. Row 5 is kidney bladder. And guess what? The kidney connects to all the muscles of your upper body, upper shoulders, neck, jaw. It also connects to your lower back muscles as well. The bladder connects to all the muscles that runs up from the base of your spine to the top and to your lower leg muscles. So sometimes these emotions end up in muscles or joints or nerves or ligaments. So what would we say that was? So that was bladder. So was it conflict? No. There's some creative insecurity that's affecting your immune system. Now this is an interesting one here because creative insecurity shows up a lot for people. And I'm going to be doing some work with business owners and entrepreneurs coming up, and I'm going to be doing some free minute clinics for them coming up June, not the first, second week in June, Tuesdays and Thursdays. I'm working with business owners and entrepreneurs, and we're all going to be working on procrastination. What's stopping, blocking, or holding you back from completing a project, or you need to get this done, but you're not, whatever it is. But creative insecurity is an interesting one here, Rob. Why? Because we are creative beings. And where's the source of our creativity? Anyone know where that is? Most of us think our creativity is here, but actually not. You know, the source of our creativity is actually here in our heart. You know, that's our source of love, our source of creativity, the seed of our soul. It's here. And guess what? That's called our heart mind. And it actually can do thinking for this mind. This will get us mixed up sometimes, but if we follow our heart or listen to our heart, we're more clear. But this creative insecurity is also tied in there. So I'm going to ask, in order to, and I'm just, you know, I can just identify them and delete them, but sometimes we need to know more. I'll show you how this works. So this resentment, I'm going to ask, is this your own resentment here then? Actually, no, it's not your resentment here, Rob. It's absorbed. You actually picked it up from someone else, their resentment. And it's absorbed. So the way that works is if you're feeling, let's say you're feeling really good and you go visit your friend Bob and they are depressed. And you leave there about an hour later, now you're feeling depressed. You were feeling good when you went to see him, now you're feeling depressed. Well, guess what? At that point, you can consciously decide, you know, I'm just going to let that depression go, or you can hold on to it. We make these conscious choices. So when we choose to hang on to it, then it becomes trapped. So there's some resentment that you picked it up from another person. Was it a family member? No. Was it a female? No, this was a male, actually, Rob. You picked it up from a male. Was it a family member? No. So we can pick up emotions from anyone. We can be walking down the street and see someone coming the other direction, and we're looking at them and we're thinking, boy, that person, the way they're walking, the head down, boy, they don't look very happy. Oh, they look sad. Oh, man, as they're getting, I can feel that sadness, you know. So we can actually pick up emotions from other people. We don't even have to know them. Again, it's energy. So you absorb this resentment from a male. Does that make any sense to you? Do we need to know who the male is? No, actually, no, we don't. Sometimes we do, and we can always ask if we wanted to know and test different names. But you picked that up from a male, some resentment. And did you pick it up from someone else? Actually, you did. Was it a family member? No. You actually picked up resentment from a male, and you also picked it up from a female. Interesting. Resentment from both. Does that make any sense? Anyways, do we need to know more in order to release that resentment for you here, Rob? Actually, no, we don't. So again, how do we delete it? We use a magnet, remember? We're going to run it over the central governing meridian. So we're going to release that resentment that you picked up from a male, and you also ended up picking up from a female. They might have even been a couple, or they've maybe known each other. You might know both of them. Sometimes for healers, they pick up stuff from their clients as well. So releasing that resentment and any hidden resentment, just to cover our bases for you, Rob, and shared resentment, absorbed psychic traumas, trauma energies, and vibrational resonances of resentment. Now let's take a breath on that one here, Rob. Breathing helps to, so on that second question, the female, yes, that was the female, just to test. I won't say who it is, but that's what it was for your question there, Rob. Yeah, that was the female here. But there was also a male too. So, and that happens. We can pick up stuff from, especially people that we know or we're close to, we're more susceptible. And if you're a parent, you can pick up stuff from, you know, when your kids aren't happy, even if they're not around, you can sense it. So that's how that works. So we release that resentment to 100%. That's gone. That easy. It's gone from your energy field. So when we release an emotion, that emotion is gone and gone forever now from your energy field. The body still has to process it, but it's gone. The same emotion can show up many times related to different people, different ages, different events. And then there's a one here of creative insecurity. And creative insecurity, like I said, is a big one. So let me ask, is this your own creative insecurity? Yes. Do we need to know more in order to release it? Actually, we do here. Most of the time, we just need to know what it is. So do we need to know what it's all about? Yes. Is it anything to do with your health? No, actually, this isn't to do with your health. It's to do with family or relationship. This is success, money, success, finances on some level. Being a little insecure about maybe creating some success or financial success to do with something or a project or something. A little insecurity around that. Especially nowadays with what's going on. And procrastination, yes, as Rob's saying, that's a big one. And that'll hold you back or stop you from doing certain things as well. But this is something tied into money, success, or finances. Is it to do with your health or relationships? No. Is it family? No. It's definitely success or money. Something around that. Some insecurity around that. Writer's block, for example, is a very common, that's creative insecurity, right? Being insecure about being able to finish your book or finish your project, or even to get started, exercising. I was working on a lady the other day. I was on an online summit with 4 other practitioners, and Michael Losey, the Law of Attraction, one of my associates, and there was a woman who was, she had resistance to exercise. We could also call that procrastination resistance. We found a few emotions, released them. She sent me an email yesterday. Guess what? She's back exercising. The very next day, she was back exercising. So this creative insecurity is something to do with success or money or some kind of a little insecure about that. So, and yes, that's a yes for you, Rob, on that. The last comment, yeah, and understandably, you know, when you're building a project, there's a lot to deal with, and you always want it to be successful. So this creative insecurity, it's your own. Is it picked up or shared, inherited? No. Do we need to know more in order to release it? No, we don't. So let's release that here for you, Rob. We're going to release that creative insecurity. So just a second here. If there's something different about this one, it's usually 3 rolls. How many rolls to release this one for you, Rob? It's about 10 rolls to release this one. It's usually 3 for most, or 10 rolls with a magnet if it's an inherited one from, at the moment, you get from your mom and dad at conception. And these are, we all get them. We all inherit emotions from mom and dad. But this one is requiring 10 rolls. Usually that means it's a little bit more intense for you, this creative insecurity. So let me ask, let's release that here. We're going to release that creative insecurity through. You're going to roll at least 10 times. And any hidden creative insecurity for you here around this, Rob, and any shared or absorbed or psychic trauma energies of creative insecurity and shock, and any vibrational resonances of creative insecurity. And let's take a big breath on that one. And did release that creative insecurity for you then, Rob? Yes, we did. Was it released to 100%? Yes. So now we're looking at your immune system. We weren't specifically working on a particular issue, but except looking at the immune system. So now, how well is your immune system functioning here, Rob? Is it functioning over 10%, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, 95, 96, 97, 98%. And that's a good place to be. Especially with all this stuff going around, you want to keep your immune system functioning. Because why? It's our first line of defense. So if you want to wait a minute or so after we've done this, Rob, and you can just give me a quick update here as to how you might be feeling. Sometimes you'll feel or notice things right away, a sense or get a feeling. You can update us on that. So that's creative insecurity. So now we're running at 98%. Every day now I am checking my immune system to keep it boosted up. And I also take vitamin D, which I have for years, and extra vitamin C and other things as well to stay healthy. Spend time in the fresh air, getting exercise, that's all good. Drinking lots and lots of good water. Guess what? Because we're made of water. Not tea, not coffee, not wine, not beer. They're all good, but we're made of water. So drinking lots of water will help with the release. So Rob's saying here he's just feeling a little bit lighter now. And that's not uncommon, Rob, because guess what we've done? We've just gotten rid of some baggage. Some baggage that you're carrying. We just dumped some of it. So hopefully you're going to feel a little lighter and a little less fear. Well, that's good to know. Does this stuff work? Absolutely. Absolutely. This is probably one of the most dynamic healing techniques that I've come across in my many years. I started studying holistic health in 1969. So this is one of the fastest and most effective techniques I've come across to help to identify and release things, to deal with chronic pain or other things as well. So, yeah. Want to get to work on the project? That's good. Yeah. So again, if you just joined us, I'm doing our COVID-19 Minute Clinic here today. This is the last one in the series right now for COVID-19. I may bring some more in here again. I've been doing them for the month of May, starting on Monday. Coming up here on Monday, 9 a.m. Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 9 a.m. Pacific, I am doing minute clinics for people that are dealing with chronic pain. Maybe it's a sore back or a hip or a knee or a leg or an elbow or something you're dealing with. We're gonna We're going to look to see if there's any emotions involved with that, and if there are, we're going to delete them to see if we can lower, lessen, or diminish that pain. In some cases, we're able to just get rid of it completely, sometimes in a few minutes. Occasionally, it'll require more than one session, but we're doing the Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays starting next. For anyone who's dealing with chronic pain, whether it's a family member, a friend, whatever, you can tag them here and they can come on to our minute clinic here next week. We're going to run them for the month of June. And then starting on the second week in June, I am doing a minute clinic for business owners and entrepreneurs. I've done a lot of work with them, and this is going to be on focusing on what's stopping, blocking, preventing, or holding you back from completing that project, or from getting your house cleaned, or getting your business in order, or maybe bringing your business into the 21st century now, because guess what? Things have changed. And because things have changed, we're having to do business sometimes in different ways. So if you're feeling any blocks or negativity around your ability to create or move forward, or feeling stuck, I'm doing these minute clinics for business owners and entrepreneurs starting on Tuesday, the second week in June, and they're going to be at 8 a.m. Pacific time here. So stay tuned. I'll be advertising, promoting them on my Facebook. If you'd like to join my group, I'll be advertising them there. And then I have a 6-week project coming up. This is for business owners and entrepreneurs. This happens over 6 weeks. It's to do with blocks to success, business success, blocks to success. And it's a whole program that I do here. What it's involved, there's 6 different sessions, and we spend 10 to 15 minutes together once a week for 6 weeks, and watch the changes. So 10 to 15 minutes together once a week for 6 weeks. It's all around removing business blocks. And actually, procrastination is a big part of that, and that's why I'm starting with these minute clinics. So leading up to my program here for business owners and entrepreneurs coming up later on in June. So I'm looking for 3 to 4 people who would like to be part of this program. So it's a group thing, and it's, again, 10 to 15 minutes of your time, 1 day a week for 6 weeks. So stay tuned if you'd like to be part of that or be involved with that. And yes, we got a little comment here too. Help with foot pain, planner. Yeah, we could probably help you with, or maybe hopefully diminish or release some of that pain for you and that issue you have here, Rob. But that's coming up on our next minute clinic here. So this is not so much focused on pain, this one, but this was on COVID-19. Any negative thoughts or feelings that you may have around COVID-19. So yeah, stay up to date here, Rob. You can join us for our minute clinic starting next Monday, or tag us, maybe come along at one of those, and we'll do some work on those issues for you. No problem at all. So again, if you just joined us, the COVID-19 minute clinic, this was our last in the series here. We have some other upcoming things coming. Chronic pain, business procrastination or blocks for success for business and entrepreneurs. And I'll also be doing some minute clinics on seasonal allergies. How many people think that seasonal allergies are caused from pollen? Yeah. No, most of it's emotionally based. And also I'll be doing some releases for people that have any particular food or drink addiction. That's coming up as well. For example, let's say you drink too much Coca-Cola, or you're eating too many hamburgers, or too many chocolate or sweets, or you'd like to maybe get rid of you drink too much wine, whatever it is. I'm going to help you delete those cravings or addictions here within minutes. And we've been doing this for a long time. So anyways, thanks for joining us here today. Thanks for volunteering here, Rob. Nice to see you, Rob. good luck with all that, and I'll do whatever I can to help you. As you know, Rob, you know where to find me. So welcome today, and I am going to say goodbye and come back and join us on Monday for our chronic pain minute clinic. Have a great day, everyone. Take care. Bye-bye.